Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. You were not created to be average. You were not put on this earth just to survive. You were designed to thrive, to dominate, to shine in your God-given purpose. But none of that happens, none of it, if you don't believe in yourself. See, belief isn't just some cute little idea you whisper to yourself in the mirror. Belief is a decision. It's a choice. You decide every single day, am I going to let fear run my life, or am I going to trust the greatness that's already inside me? Listen, you don't need more motivation. You don't need permission. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to believe. That belief will fuel the action. And that action, over time, that's what separates winners from wishers. Belief is a decision, not a feeling. That simple truth separates those who live with purpose from those who live in hesitation. Most people think they need to feel confident before they take action. They wait for inspiration to strike, for fear to disappear, for everything to align perfectly before they make a move. But here's the reality. If you wait for the feeling, you'll wait forever. The feeling doesn't come first. The decision does. Every person who's ever accomplished anything great made a decision before they felt ready. They made a choice to believe in themselves before the evidence was there. They didn't have a guarantee. They didn't have a perfect plan, but they had the courage to choose belief. And that decision created the momentum that feelings never could. The problem with relying on feelings is that feelings change. They're unpredictable. They rise and fall based on circumstances, based on other people's opinions, based on what happened that day. If your belief is built on something that's inconsistent, you'll always be at the mercy of your mood. But when belief becomes a decision, when it becomes a standard you set, not an emotion you wait for, then you unlock power that doesn't fade when things get tough. So let's be real. Nobody feels confident all the time. Nobody wakes up every day bursting with motivation. Even the most successful people have doubts. They have fears. They have days when nothing seems to be working. But they don't let those feelings decide the outcome. They wake up and they decide to show up. They decide to trust themselves. They decide to act with boldness. That's belief in action. And that kind of belief, it's unshakable. It's not based on hype. It's based on conviction. Think about it like this. When you decided to walk for the first time as a baby, you didn't wait until you felt like an expert. You just tried, you fell, you got back up. You didn't know what failure was. You just decided to keep going. Somewhere along the line, though, we started needing proof before action. We wanted guarantees before risk. We wanted applause before we even stepped on the stage. And that's the trap. The truth is you can train your belief. You can build it like a muscle. But it only grows when you make the decision over and over to act in alignment with who you know you can become, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because every time you choose belief in the face of doubt, you reinforce that identity. You're telling yourself, I may not feel ready, but I am ready. And that internal dialogue becomes the foundation of unstoppable momentum. You don't need to feel confident to move. You don't need to feel courageous to take a leap. You just need to decide that your vision is more important than your temporary fear. Feelings are like clouds. They pass. But a decision, a real decision, is like the sun behind those clouds. It doesn't waver, it doesn't shift, and it's always there waiting to shine through. Belief isn't about lying to yourself. It's about choosing to focus on your potential instead of your limitations. It's about saying, I may not have it all figured out yet, but I trust myself to grow through it. That kind of belief can't be shaken by a bad day, a missed opportunity, or a slow start. It's deeper than that. It's rooted in who you've decided to become. So stop waiting for the feeling. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Choose belief. Decide to trust yourself today, not because everything is clear, but because you've made the decision that no matter what, you're moving forward. You were created to thrive, not survive. That's not just a feel-good quote. It's a foundational truth. There's a massive difference between existing and living, between just getting through the day and taking command of it. Survival is what happens when you operate in fear, when you settle for less, when you're just trying to make it to the end of the week. Thriving, on the other hand, is what happens when you tap into your potential and live with intention, purpose, and passion. Too many people are stuck in survival mode. They wake up tired, go to jobs they hate, live paycheck to paycheck, and think this is all life has to offer. They live reactive lives, responding to problems instead of creating solutions. They play defense instead of offense. But you weren't made to live like that. You were made with gifts, talents, and abilities that aren't meant to be buried under fear, excuses, or other people's expectations. You don't need anyone's permission to thrive. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to recognize what's already inside you. See, survival mode trains you to think small. It trains you to aim low, to avoid risk, to settle for comfort. But comfort is a slow killer. It numbs your potential. It convinces you that safety is more valuable than growth. Thriving begins the moment you reject that lie and decide to pursue the life you were created for. There's something powerful that happens when you stop asking, what if it doesn't work, and start asking, what if it does? Thriving is about living with that mindset every single day. It's about expecting more, not because you're entitled, but because you know what you're capable of. It's about refusing to let your circumstances define your standards. It's about raising the bar and then becoming the person who can reach it. Surviving is reactive. Thriving is proactive. When you're in survival mode, your main goal is to avoid pain. When you're thriving, your goal is to pursue purpose. One leads to mediocrity, the other to mastery. And that shift doesn't happen automatically. It takes clarity, courage, and consistency. You have to be willing to let go of the survival mindset, to stop thinking like a victim of your environment and start thinking like the architect of your future. Every time you accept just enough, you're shrinking your vision. Every time you delay your dream because it feels too hard or too risky, you're feeding the survival mindset. But every time you challenge yourself to rise, even just one step higher, you start to rewire your belief system. You start living like someone who knows they're built for more. Thriving doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. It means you start to operate with a different level of faith, a different level of focus. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You stop blaming and start building. You stop drifting and start deciding. You weren't designed to live paycheck to paycheck, emotionally drained, spiritually empty, creatively shut down. That's not your blueprint. That's not your identity. That's what happens when you buy into the lie that survival is enough. But the truth is, you're capable of abundance. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You were made to overflow, not just to get by. There's something divine about stepping into your calling fully. Thriving is when you align your habits with your purpose. It's when you stop hiding your potential and start multiplying it. It's when you stop chasing the world's approval and start walking in your own authority. That's the level you were born for. That's the life that's available to you when you stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. Consistency is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is a great spark. It gets you fired up, makes you feel like you can conquer anything in the moment. But what happens when that fire fades? What happens when you wake up tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed? That's where most people fall off, because they've been trained to chase emotion instead of committing to execution. Motivation is temporary. It's a feeling. Consistency is a habit. It's a standard. And that's what produces results. You can't build a meaningful life, business, or legacy on fleeting emotions. You build it with discipline. You build it by showing up when you don't feel like it. That's what separates the average from the extraordinary. The average rely on motivation. The extraordinary rely on system, structure, and consistency. Anyone can show up on a good day. Champions show up every day, rain or shine, high or low, excited or exhausted. That's what makes them different. The truth is, motivation lies to you sometimes. It whispers things like, take it easy today, you deserve a break, or you can start tomorrow. But consistency tells the truth. Consistency says, do the work whether you feel like it or not. Keep the promise you made to yourself, and your future depends on what you choose right now. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be the most talented. But if you're consistent, you will always outperform someone who's more skilled but less disciplined. Every goal you've set, every dream you've imagined lives on the other side of consistency. Not one-time effort, not hype, not bursts of action when you're in the mood. Long-term lasting success is the byproduct of small, intentional actions done repeatedly. That workout you didn't skip, that business call you made when no one else would, that decision to get back up even when the progress felt slow, those moments define your future far more than any short-lived rush of excitement. People often talk about momentum like it's something magical. But momentum isn't magic, it's manufactured. It's created by consistent action over time. When you stay consistent, you build confidence. When you build confidence, you start to operate with clarity. And when you move with clarity, your results start compounding. That's the power of doing the right thing over and over until it pays off. There will be days when nothing feels like it's working, days when you wonder if the effort is worth it. That's normal. What matters is that you keep going, because consistency doesn't guarantee that things will always be easy, but it guarantees that you won't stay stuck. It guarantees growth. It guarantees forward motion. And that's where transformation happens, not in the big dramatic wins, but in the quiet commitment to keep moving. Look around at anyone who's achieved something meaningful. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a moment of genius. It was consistent effort executed with patience and faith. They didn't wait for the stars to align. They built brick by brick, step by step, day after day. And while everyone else got bored or distracted or discouraged, they kept showing up. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. The most intense workout doesn't change your body. The most passionate speech doesn't change your life. It's what you do after the motivation wears off that counts. Are you willing to push when no one is watching? Are you willing to do the unsexy, repetitive things that compound into excellence over time? Because that's where greatness lives. Not in flashes of brilliance, but in the rhythm of relentless commitment. Success comes from what you do daily, not occasionally. Most people treat success like it's a lottery ticket, something they might hit one day if they get lucky or if everything magically lines up. But success doesn't work like that. It doesn't show up one day out of nowhere. It's built brick by brick, action by action, through the habits you choose to live out every single day. The small decisions you make on a daily basis are what determine the direction and outcome of your life. You don't need some massive, life-changing breakthrough to win. You need the discipline to do the right things even when they're boring, even when no one else is watching, even when it feels like it's not making a difference. Because that's the secret. The things that look insignificant in the moment are often the very things that lead to extraordinary results over time. The real power is in the repetition. Everyone wants to rise to the occasion, but the truth is, people don't rise to the occasion, they fall to the level of their habits. If your habits are weak, your results will be weak. If your habits are strong, your life begins to reflect that strength. It's not about doing the right thing once, it's about doing the right thing consistently. Excellence is an event, it's a lifestyle. You can't train once and expect to be fit. You can't save money once and expect to be wealthy. You can't pray once and expect to be spiritually grounded. Just like you can't plant a seed and expect a tree to grow overnight, you can't take action once and expect to be successful. It's the process that transforms you, not the moment. And that process is powered by what you do with your 24 hours every single day. Look at your routine. Your routine is your blueprint. What you repeatedly do is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. If your actions are scattered and inconsistent, your results will be the same. But if your actions are intentional and aligned with your goals, success becomes inevitable. The key isn't more effort. It's focused, consistent effort aimed in the right direction. It's easy to talk about what you want. It's easy to dream, to write goals, to post quotes and talk big, but talk doesn't create transformation. Repetition does. Discipline does. Putting in the work when no one claps for you does. You don't need a dramatic wake-up call to change your life. You need a better set of daily standards. You need to stop asking what you feel like doing and start asking what needs to be done. Success isn't some mystery. It's simply the result of doing the fundamentals so well and so consistently that your progress becomes undeniable. The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful one is rarely talent. It's almost always consistency. It's how they show up on the days that feel ordinary. It's what they do when no one is giving them credit. It's how they handle the silence between the seed being planted and the fruit being harvested. What you do once in a while might make you feel good, but it doesn't move the needle. What moves the needle is what you do on repeat, how you treat your time, how you show up in your relationships, how you invest in your mindset, how you manage your energy. Those little choices are what shape your future. Your life isn't the result of one big decision. It's the outcome of thousands of small, quiet choices that compound over time. Your breakthrough is waiting on your discipline. Too many people expect a breakthrough to be some sudden, dramatic event. They envision it as a moment when everything aligns, when opportunities fall into their lap, or when the universe finally rewards them for their efforts. But the truth is, breakthroughs don't just happen, they are earned. And they're earned through consistency, focus, and most importantly, discipline. Discipline is the foundation upon which breakthroughs are built. It's not flashy or glamorous, but it's the key to unlocking everything you've been working for. Breakthroughs aren't always visible in the moment. They don't always come with a loud fanfare or instant recognition. Sometimes they are the small victories that nobody else notices. The time you resisted the temptation to quit, the extra hour you put in when you could have relaxed, the decision to do one more task when everything in you just wanted to stop. Those moments, the ones that seem small and insignificant, are the ones that compound and eventually lead to the breakthrough you've been seeking. They are the silent seeds of success that only discipline can plant. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. Motivation is powerful. It gets you started. It fuels that initial excitement, but it doesn't last forever. It's not sustainable. What is sustainable, what will keep you moving when motivation wanes, is discipline. It's the ability to keep going when it feels hard, when it feels inconvenient, when no one is around to cheer you on. Discipline is what forces you to show up even when you don't feel like it, and it's that consistent, focused effort that will lead to the breakthroughs you're after. Many people give up just before their breakthrough. They don't realize that everything they've been doing, every small step forward, has been setting them up for something big. They quit too soon. The breakthrough doesn't happen when you're coasting or when things are easy. It happens when you push through the struggle, when you refuse to let your circumstances dictate your effort. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of discipline, the side where you choose to keep going even when the rewards aren't immediate, even when the journey is long and tough. When you choose discipline, you choose long-term success over short-term comfort. Discipline is about saying no to things that may feel good in the moment, but don't align with your goals. It's about pushing through resistance, making choices that are hard in the short term for the payoff in the long term. It's about taking the time to do the work that others are unwilling to do, knowing that it will pay off later. Discipline is what separates those who talk about their dreams from those who actually achieve them. It's what turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. Your breakthrough doesn't just happen when you get lucky or when everything falls into place. It happens when you make the decision to commit to your goals and stick with them even when it feels like nothing is happening. It happens when you keep showing up day after day, doing the work, putting in the effort, staying focused on your vision. And through that sustained effort, that unwavering commitment to your discipline, your breakthrough becomes inevitable. Too many people look for shortcuts, for easy paths to success, but they fail to realize that there are no shortcuts. The road to greatness is paved with consistency and discipline. There are no magic moments where things instantly change. There are only the quiet, often unseen efforts that you make every single day. And it's those efforts that will eventually lead you to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. So don't give up and don't lose heart. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, but it won't come without discipline. It won't come without showing up, putting in the work, and staying committed to the process. That's where the magic happens. Obstacles test your commitment to your vision. Everyone faces them. No one gets a free pass. Whether it's a personal setback, a financial challenge, a health issue, or some other unexpected roadblock, obstacles are a part of the journey. The question is, how do you respond when they show up? Do you use them as an excuse to quit, or do you use them as fuel to push harder? Your obstacles aren't there to stop you, they're there to test you, to see if you truly want what you say you want, to see if you'll continue to pursue your vision when things get tough. Obstacles have a way of revealing your true character. They expose your level of commitment, your level of belief in your own potential. When everything is easy and flowing smoothly, it's easy to stay motivated. It's easy to believe in yourself when success is just around the corner. But when things get hard, when it feels like the world is against you, that's when your true commitment is revealed. Do you stay committed to your vision, or do you let the obstacle define you? Do you keep going, or do you fall into doubt and discouragement? Commitment isn't a fair weather trait. It's not something you can just turn on and off depending on how you feel. Commitment is a decision you make when you first set your vision. It's the agreement you make with yourself to stay the course, no matter what happens along the way. Commitment is what keeps you going when the excitement fades, when the path gets rocky, when the results are slow to show up. It's what keeps you grounded when things aren't going your way. It's the steady force that propels you forward, even when obstacles seem to be pushing you backward. The reality is that obstacles aren't personal. Life isn't out to get you. Every successful person has faced challenges. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is how they respond to those challenges. Do they see obstacles as an invitation to quit, or do they see them as an opportunity to grow stronger? Obstacles are not signs that you should turn back. They are simply part of the process of growth. They are moments of resistance that help to build your resilience. Without them, you wouldn't become the person capable of achieving your vision. Every time you face an obstacle and decide to keep moving forward, you grow. You develop new skills, new levels of confidence, and new ways of thinking. The obstacle itself doesn't stop you. Your response to it determines whether or not you will continue. If you let an obstacle derail your vision, it's not the obstacle that's the problem, it's your lack of commitment. But if you face it head on, if you find a way through it or around it, that obstacle becomes a stepping stone on the path to success. There's a reason why the most successful people in the world are the ones who have faced the most challenges. They didn't let those challenges define them. They used them as motivation to keep going. They developed a mindset that saw setbacks as opportunities for growth, not as reasons to quit. The more obstacles you face, the more you learn, the stronger you become, and each one brings you one step closer to the person you need to be to achieve your vision. Obstacles also serve as a reminder that you're on the right track. If things were too easy, it might mean you're not pushing hard enough, not aiming high enough. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you stretch yourself, when you push past the things that seem impossible. Obstacles are a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're taking risks, that you're actually making progress. So don't fear them. Embrace them. Face them head on and use them as evidence that you're on the right path. Your vision is worth it. The challenges are worth it. The obstacles are worth it. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Keep your eyes on the vision, not the roadblocks, and stay committed. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is just on the other side of those obstacles. Plant the seed with belief, water it with consistency, this is one of the most powerful truths you'll ever encounter. So often, people are waiting for the perfect moment to take action, or they're waiting for a grand opportunity to come their way. But what they fail to realize is that success doesn't happen like that. It starts with a decision. It starts with belief. And once that belief is in place, the work of nurturing it begins. The seed you plant today may seem small and insignificant even, but it holds the potential for greatness. It's the belief you plant at the start that will determine how that seed grows. Belief is the foundation, the root system. Without belief, nothing will take root. You can't expect results without first investing the energy and focus required to nurture your vision. But belief alone isn't enough. A seed can't grow by itself. It requires consistent care. That's where consistency comes in. It's the watering, it's the care, it's the daily action that ensures your belief becomes a reality. The seed you plant is your dream, your goal, your vision. It's the thing you want most but may not yet have. And when you first plant that seed of belief, it might feel fragile, uncertain. You might doubt whether it will ever sprout, but that's where consistency steps in. Watering the seed every day, even when you can't see the immediate progress, is what makes the difference. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, when you plant the seed and nothing seems to happen. But here's the thing, growth happens slowly. It's in the quiet, unseen moments that transformation is taking place. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. The seed is working underground, pushing through the soil, preparing to sprout. If you water that seed once and walk away, don't expect it to grow. Growth requires ongoing effort. It requires patience, faith, and the willingness to keep showing up, even when the results don't come quickly. Your belief is like that seed. You have to tend to it every single day. You can't let doubts, distractions, or frustrations deter you. The moment you stop watering the seed is the moment you stop its growth. And the more consistent you are, the faster it will grow. Eventually, you'll see progress, and that's when things start to change. But remember, that progress didn't happen overnight. It happened because you were consistent in the face of uncertainty, because you trusted the process. It's important to remember that consistency doesn't always mean doing something big or dramatic. It means showing up, doing the work, taking the small actions that compound over time. One small step every day is more powerful than a giant leap once in a while. The key to success is not in doing extraordinary things, but in doing the ordinary things consistently. And eventually that consistency builds momentum. You may not notice the changes in the beginning, but after a while, you'll look back and see how far you've come. Just like the seed you plant doesn't grow in a day, the results of your efforts won't appear instantly, but over time, the consistency you put in will create a force of growth that can't be stopped. It will push through challenges, overcome obstacles, and eventually lead to the breakthrough you're looking for. It's not the short bursts of energy that will get you there. It's the long, steady commitment. It's the quiet, persistent belief that refuses to give up even when the path gets difficult. When you combine belief and consistency, you create an unstoppable force. Belief gives you the vision and the drive to begin. Consistency ensures that you stay on the path, that you keep putting in the work, even when the results aren't immediately obvious. Every step you take, every day you show up, you are watering that seed. And over time, it will grow into something bigger, something greater than you could have ever imagined when you first planted it. So don't give up. Don't let the lack of immediate results deter you. Stay committed, keep watering your seed, and trust that your belief combined with consistency will bring your vision to life.